Hello, word nerds, let's go. So this morning actually it's evening for me. I have no idea what time of day you're watching this, but we are working on measurements this week and next actually. So it's like measurements this week and numbers next week. So we have a root, meter, and metr, which mean measure. So we're going to focus on those. But then this is going to be like the easiest other roots we've ever done. It looks like a lot of work, but this is actually going to be fairly simple. So you're going to cut these out too. You do not need to split these up. That would be a lot of extra work that is unnecessary. So let's start with this one first. So I'm going to put glue. And notice how I made my little flaps like always. I'm going to put glue on the back of this ruler. And just glue it down. Pretty simple this time for whatever reason. Didn't have any crazy shapes. Okay, and all of these words have the word meter in it in some form or fashion. So diameter is the distance across the circle. So it's like through the center from one side to the other. So the measurement across a circle or sphere. A sphere would be a three-dimensional version of a circle. From one side to another. So say if we have a circle, diameter would be across, like that. Be our measurement. Optometry, so opt has to do with eyes and vision. And metry is measurement, of course. So that is examining and measuring a person's ability to see. And then you could say, if not, you'd get glasses. Examining and measuring a person's ability to see. And you would get glasses if you are struggling. So barometer is a measurement of something. It's the B-A-R-O, bara. And that is the pressure, and it helps us with the weather. So a tool to measure air pressure. And it also helps us predict weather changes. Perimeter is the measurement around an edge of a surface. So the measurement around the outside edge of an area or surface. And usually you would add this. So let's say each of those is a side, 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 and side. It would be side plus side plus side plus side. And that would just be like, let's say that's 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, and 2 feet. It would be 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. And symmetry. We heard about this in one of our Odd Squad videos last week. Symmetry is a quality of two sides having equal measure. So basically they need to be identical. And that's size, shape, and position. All right, so that's one of our words. The other ones, I promise you, are so easy. So we are going to flip to our next page. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the one that has the numbers first because that might be a little more familiar with some of us. And I'm going to put glue on the back of it. All the way across. There's nothing that you don't have to put glue on with this one. We are not flipping anything on it. Just glue that down to your notebook. Make sure you're paying attention to how far to the side you are because we are going to glue the other one directly next to it. Because these are similar measures. These are metric measurements. And metric measurements are what the entire world uses, like scientists and the rest of the world, except for the United States. The United States has their own other measurements that we like to use, like inches and miles and stuff like that other countries don't use. But metric is what most of the world uses, and it's definitely what scientists use. So we are going to glue this other one down. If you ask me why Americans don't use metric system, I don't have a good reason for you guys. I'm sorry. Okay. So we have glued both of these down. So one good thing to notice is on this side, we have 10. So think of it as like place value. We have tens, 100, 1,000, and million. And of course it could keep going after that. So these are all numbers that would be considered like whole or positive. Well, I'm not going to get into positive or negative or whatever. I'm sorry. That was a little confusing. It's been a while since I've taught math. So we have all of these that are whole up top. And down here at the bottom, we have things like tenth, hundredth, thousandth, and millionth. And guys, guess what? You see the difference in these numbers? So these are decimals. These are portions. These are just part of a whole. So we have decimals, which decimals are basically the same thing as fractions. It just takes time to get there. So fourth graders, towards the end of this school year, you're going to hear more about decimals. And by fifth grade, you work a lot with decimals. But decimals are just a part, just like fractions. So it's really good timing because we're in the middle of our fractions unit right now. So you can connect with it just a little bit. But you know, like if you have 1/10 of something, like of a shape, it's 1 out of 10. And if you have 1 out of 100, well, that would be 1/100th. If you have 2/10, well, that would be 2 out of 10. If you have 200ths, that would be 2 out of 100, and so on and so forth. So we can kind of make a connection right there. You will not be using millionth in elementary school, like, unless Challenge uses that somehow. I'm not sure. But up until 5th grade, you're only using thousandths place. Okay, on this other side, we have our other metric prefixes. So these are mostly used in science, and we use a lot of we use kilo a lot, and deci, centi, milli, but we don't use mega, hecto, deca. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make green the ones that we use the most. I do encourage you, as I'm doing these, to color these so you can kind of get a vibe for what I'm talking about. We use kilo a lot. That's a very popular one. Deca, no, we use deci a lot. We also use centi. We use milli a lot. Not to say that we don't use any of the other ones, but these are the most commonly used ones. So the least used would be like micro. I probably should have used different colors because over here I was showing how these were part and those were whole, and now hopefully that doesn't confuse anybody, because on this side I'm trying to show it's most used and least used. So we don't really use deca, hecto, mega very much. Okay. So mega's value, this may not become a huge shock to you, would be 1,000,000. So you're just going to write million right underneath. Kilo, oh look at that, it's going to be 1,000. Hecto is going to be 100. Deca is going to be 10. Deci is tenth. Centi is hundredth. Milli is thousandth, which is not a million, which could be confusing for some of you. And micro is millionth. So these are the smaller measures, and these are the larger measures. It's kind of the same between both charts. So top is going to be our larger ones, bottom is going to be our smaller ones. All right, and that's it. Thanks, word nerds and math nerds today.